Hey guys, it's Dome, and today I'm going to start my new series, DomeDoes. So DomeDoes basically shows you the basics of After Effects that most tutorials don't show. So I'm going to get really basic at the start of the series, and towards the end I'm going to get more advanced and teach you more of the fundamentals of After Effects. So first thing I'm going to show you today for the series is your composition settings. So your composition settings will vary through the type of video you're trying to make, but most projects will require the settings I'm gonna show you. So what you're gonna do is create a new composition, and the shortcut for that is Control N. And what a composition is basically what everything comes into. So for example, if you were to get a solid and say just a background and get a text and add some fancy effects, lighting and all that stuff, you're gonna put it into this composition, and your composition will hold everything. So once you render it, you're not gonna have to render everything individually. You're just gonna have to render the composition and everything comes together. You can create multiple compositions and then pre-compose the things inside them and just add them to your other composition and just render all as one. But today I'm just going to show you a single composition, or like the optimal settings for a single composition. So what you're going to do first is name your composition, and I'll just call mine tutorial composition. And so what this is, well, the name it's pretty straightforward. It's just the name of your project basically. So yeah. And then next thing is your presets, or you can change your width and height settings individually. So my optimal settings are 1920 by 1080, and I think that's the average definition average size for YouTube videos and films. You can go up to 4K, but right now I don't really know the numbers for 4K resolution. But an easy way to do it is choose a preset, and these presets are already chosen resolutions, and so you can choose just from these. I recommend these HD, TV, and HDV. These are the best quality and most easiest to recognize. So today, what I've chosen is HDV 1080 29.97, and what the 29.7 is just the frame rate, and you'll see here it asks you for the frame rate, but you can just change it here. And I'm going to do mine HDV 1080 29.97, and it changes to 1440 by 1080, which isn't really a big change from 1920 by 1080, but it still is a change. So yeah, so I've chosen these settings, and locked aspect ratio from my understanding is so if you change a number from here, so say 720, oh wait, sorry, so say you change a number here of your bottom height, it's not gonna make a change to the width, but if you click locked aspect ratio, retype it, and it will choose optimal width for your project. So yeah. And down here is frame rate, and your frame rate is the frames per second, and what that is how smooth your project is going to be. So the higher you put your frame rate, the more smoother your project will be. But if you do put it too high, it might take longer to render, or your computer might lag while you're editing a project with this frame rate. And here is pretty obvious. You can see just the name duration. So I think this is milliseconds, and this is seconds, and then minutes, then hours. Well, for me, whatever project I'm doing, I always put my time settings to 45 seconds, so I can have a small project, like a base time to work with. And then throughout the project, when I need more time, all I do is just do Control K, and it brings up your composition settings, and you can just change your composition settings while you're in the middle of a project. Or what you can do is just go up here and composition settings, and your start time code is just when you want your project to start, and I'm just going to leave mine to 0, and you should always leave yours to 0 because you don't really need to start time code, but you maybe will depending on your project. And here is just your resolution settings, so what you want your resolution, your project to be shown in when you're editing it. So yeah, and your background color doesn't really matter because you might change it throughout the project anyway, so you can just put it any color, but I like putting it black because it's just easier to work with, or white, whatever works for you best. So click OK, and you can use this eyedropper tool to just choose a color from whatever and click it. As you can see, I've chosen grey and there's nothing there, but there actually is a composition, but it's just because it blends in with the background, so I'll just do black and then click OK, and there you have it, a composition. And I'll just show you a quick example of just from before when I was explaining what a composition is. I'll show you what I meant by that. So say you added a solid and make whatever you like, call it whatever you like, but I'm going to teach you about solids in the next tutorial, but for now I'll just do this. So say you have a solid and then add a text, I'll just say blah blah, and then drag it here. So now your text and solid are within your composition, and then what you can just do is add to render queue, and it will all be added to your render queue here. Then you can choose your settings, which I'll also be putting another tutorial on, and then so you add it to your render queue and just render it, and it all gets rendered as one when you do tutorial composition. But make sure not to highlight any individual layers, because it will just render the individual layer. Make sure nothing's selected and then render it. So that's about it for the end of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed this video creation. Click here to subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, as it helps me a lot in improving my video content. Thank you.